just going to go through first, just to get out of the way, the injury report, and so maybe not having to go into questions about that initially. So today, Marcus again was a limited participant, but he did do more than he did prior to our UCLA game. So he's getting closer, and when I say that, he's gonna go through shoot around tomorrow. He's gonna go through pregame warm up. He's gonna see how he feels, and he'll make a determination. But certainly, as long as he doesn't have any unforeseen setbacks, I would anticipate him getting back soon. And he's needed, believe me. Just his shooting and his rebounding are exactly the piece in the puzzle that's missing for us right now. And as far as some other guys, Remy was pretty sore from the game on Saturday. He didn't do much today in practice. Jalen Graham had a migraine today. He was out. So we'll see how he feels. I'm hoping that, this is a temporary situation today and that, he feels better tomorrow. But he was not at practice today. Who else? Alonzo Verge, if you saw, he had a thigh bruise in the UCLA game. So he came out for a period of time in that game. He was on the bike. That thing got a little stiff over the weekends. So he was fairly limited today. And then I guess the last guy is Josh. Josh is doing PT. He's transitioned into that now, and he's going to be working, with physical therapists on campus. And I don't have a specific timetable for his return.
All right, Michelle, you want to lead it off?
Hey, I'll start. Obviously, with 3 games this week, Bobby, you want to kind of have a lot of depth. You want to maybe play a lot of guys, which is easier said than done when you don't have a lot of guys available. But how do you manage given the 3 games this week?
Well, I mean, you're just, it's kind of a reminder of our Arizona back-to-back. And, you typically don't do this in a normal season, but we're doing it this year. This year has been anything but normal. So, we'll see Washington 2 games in a row. They're playing better. I think you throw out records, because if you ask UCLA if they thought we were what are we, 7-11, a 7-10 team or 7-11 team, they probably would say no, based on how we performed in our last game. So Washington's won 2 out of 3. They played very well versus Cal defensively, held them to 26% shooting and 51 points. So, they're playing better, and so we have to be ready. And that's why just managing the guys today and getting the recovery we need. And we got a lot of skill work in today and not a lot of live work to make sure that we're healthy going into a stretch for us. And I talk with the team about just, trying to gain some momentum, trying to, we potentially could still play 6 regular season games if everything goes to plan. And I remember a similar scenario in my second year at Buffalo. We had just lost a heartbreaking game at the buzzer to go 5-5 in the conference. And we won 6 straight from that point. And then we won 2 more in the conference tournament. We won 8 straight games and went to the NCAA tournament and played West Virginia. So certainly at this time of year, you want to be starting to gravitate towards playing your best basketball. And I think for 33 minutes against USC, we did. And for about 38 minutes, we did against UCLA. So it's we played some of the best basketball in the last 2 games that we played all season.
Bobby, did you share that Buffalo story with the players? And what's their response been despite some of these tough losses that you guys have taken and trying to power through it?
It's hurt. There's certainly pain, and the locker room was fairly deflated, after the way we lost. And but there was some time in between. Yesterday was an off day, and today we got back on the floor, and it didn't feel like there was a lingering effect to how we lost. But I think it's encouraging, and the guys should take it the right way to know that you have to strive to play your best. I know this business is about winning and losing, and that's important. That's why we play the games, or else it wouldn't matter. We just wouldn't bother keeping track of who wins and loses. But at the same time, you want to strive to be playing well and playing your best. And I think we came pretty close to that, for this particular season in our last game.
Bobby, you mentioned Washington, and just based on your experience against their zone, how do you want to balance the type of possessions you want to have on offense and also the pressure you bring defensively to try and get ahead of the zone, especially if you might be short on guys?
Yeah, I mean, the way we play, it makes sense for us if we could generate stops and turnovers and rebound the ball effectively, that we could, we try and get, and that's what we do anyway. We're looking to push tempo, and certainly their defense is unique, and you don't see it all the time. It's a little bit different than in years past in terms of their personnel. They might not be quite as big in that zone as they've been, and have guys that are hunting steals like Thibault and different players they've had in the past playing it. But, but we did work on it some, and the limited amount of live work that we did, we worked against their zone today.
Bobby, I know in the preseason you talked about Jalen Graham trying to do a better job defending without fouling, and I know that every game has its certain circumstances, but the fact that it did foul in the last two games, do you feel is an aberration of his overall performance on defense this year?
Well, I think his first foul was not a foul. I mean, he grabbed the ball, and it was a tough call. His second foul was Jalen House trying to save a loose ball that he ended up throwing back towards their basket. And then Jalen was in a really bad spot, and he got a foul there. To start start second half, there was a cross screen that Remy needed to sit and bump that cutter, and he didn't. So Jalen wasn't able to get in the proper position with Riley, and he was in a terrible spot. So some of those fouls were beyond his control and technically really weren't his fault. And his fourth foul, I felt, was a frustration foul for him. And then from that point, he had just been on the bench so long that he was kind of a tough night. But I'm almost kind of just going to look in the rear view mirror on that one and hope that, that he gets back to playing and getting some consistent minutes tomorrow night.
Hey, Coach. John Olmstead obviously has had seen an increase in minutes and playing time. Just what have you thought of his performance so far in these past couple of games when he's really gotten into the rotation?
Yeah, it's funny how life works with John, because now like my expectations for him have gotten higher, because I've seen him do some things out there, to rebound the ball. He had 5 rebounds in I believe the USC game, and he needs to rebound better late in the game, so we talked to him about that. His charge was fantastic, the way he rotated at a key moment to get that charge. And, he's got to be ready, because, if we get Marcus back, certainly I could shuffle Kamani to the 5 some with Marcus at the 4, but, and then have a little more depth at the 5 spot. But, John's got to, continue to keep himself ready to play.
Bobby, I also have a question about Jalen. Earlier in the year, before the mono, he looked a little tentative, a little unsure about maybe his role or his fit within the offense. And then lately, this past weekend aside, he's looked more aggressive and looking for his offense. What's been his journey from getting to where he was early in the season to where he is now? It's just as far as that on a confidence level.
Yeah, I think that he's just made more of a commitment. I mean, he talked about, like, I saw a different player on the practice floor. He was had so much more life to what he was doing. And, I think he was trying to just solidify the paint more and go after the rebounds, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, rotating over to block shots, doing a lot of things that we anticipated him doing at a better clip earlier in the season. But, so again, I kind of, the UCLA game is a throwout game for me. I thought he did, a commendable job, the best he could against the Mobleys. There aren't 2 players, in college basketball like those 2 guys. So, Jalen's coming on. That's all I can say. Is just really, he's putting together a good second half of the year, and I'm happy because, we had a good talk about that, and he's responded very well.
Just one thing about Josh is the expectation that he will have a chance to return this year, or is this something that might keep him out, for the rest of the season?
I mean, his body is going to tell us, when he's ready. I'm certainly consulting with our medical staff, and he's again, he was in PT today, and he's not ready to return to the court as he as he feels he's ready, then certainly we'll reintegrate him back into what we're doing. But I think now we're at like 11 or 12 days since he's been on the floor since the Oregon game, and each day that you lose this late in the season, it's harder to come back and reintegrate yourself into what we're doing.
Hey, Bobby, obviously Kamani has been so huge for you guys over the past couple of games. Where do you feel like he's improved most this year and throughout this season to get to the point where now he is ready to step up and be that key guy when you need him to?
Well, Kamani, I touched on, I think, the importance of him making a technical change in his jump shot. And, he's trusting his pull-up jump shots, and he was 8 for 10 from the free throw line. So one minor adjustment, I think, has unlocked, his whole game. Like he's a more confident player. He's, defensively, he's probably our best rotation defensive player, just getting charges. He rebounded the ball extremely well. He's moving without the ball. He's been a recipient. He's not a guy that really needs the ball in his hands. He can move without it. And then he's been finishing very well. So, it's a major success story for me to see him playing the way he's playing right now, because, he was really, I think, in his thoughts, thinking about his shot, and I'm just happy to see a kid that's a senior make this type of progress, when he was kind of down at one point this season. It's been a good story for us.
Hey, Coach, just kind of going back on Jalen Graham, I feel like he's been a topic of discussion a lot, and there's been talks about him in foul trouble and stuff, but he clearly has talent. How good do you think Jalen Graham can be?
Well, I mean, he's young and he's still developing. I mean, he's far from the finished product, and that's gonna depend on how badly he wants to get better. Not only these next few weeks of this season, but what could he add to his game in this off season? Last off season was tough. He didn't have one. So what could he improve upon? Can he could he get a jump shot out to the 3-point line? I mean, he took a 3 in our game, I believe it's Oregon State a couple of games ago, and I've seen him shoot it in practice, and so I didn't have a major issue with him taking that shot. And so that would be his next challenge offensively, to continue to expand his game so that he's more versatile, could play inside, play outside, and we'll hope to work on that in the offseason.
Yeah, Bobby, I just want to ask, how challenging has this been for you guys as a coaching staff with all the injuries and the distractions and so on, and canceling games? And I would imagine there's a trickle down effect where the guys that are out, feel helpless because they know they can help the team, but they can't be on the court. And the guys on the court are trying to do more than they normally do because they feel they have to, because they have certain guys out, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, again, I'm have total respect for the courage our guys have shown. Now they've they've stepped up to the plate. It's been, again, a year that we had very high expectations, and I didn't run from those and try and downplay them. And I so we have not lived up to our potential in terms of our record and what our vision was for this year. But I mean, we could go through all the press conferences I've had and all the discussions about all the obstacles and the problems that we've had. So we've probably had as problematic a season as anybody in the country. And but the guys are still battling. We saw the top of the food chain, and in LA, in both of those games, I think we played very well, and want to continue to try and strive to play good basketball and try and gain some momentum here for when our season's on the line in Vegas.
Ethan, last one.
Hey, Coach, we talked about foul trouble. Has there been anything you've talked about to bigs about foul trouble? Because it seemed to kind of be a reoccurring problem throughout the year where they've been on the bench rather than making a difference in the paint.
Well, I think that, again, when you're talking about a big like Cody Riley, he's a really tough matchup for our guys. Our guys are a little leaner, a little more mobile, and then I think I went through Graham's fouls with you and kind of said, hey, 2 of those really were not his responsibility, and it was an error by someone else. So we got to try and avoid those situations if possible. And again, that's Chris was in a similar situation with obviously with the fouls, but he his came really quick. You know, he was not really in foul trouble, and in a flash he was. So yeah, we gotta try and avoid that, especially at that position. I think that's our thinnest position on the team, and that's why getting Marcus back as soon as possible really matters. Like he will help our rebounding, our interior defense, our shooting, our athleticism. Just he checks a number of boxes that would help support that 5 position in the post.
Everybody good? Thanks, coach.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Coach.
Appreciate it.